Chapter 3, Reproduction in Humans. So, okay, this is a very small chapter, 2-3 page only. Yes, reproduction in humans. So first we will discuss sexual reproduction in humans, and then we have to discuss main organs of male and female reproductive system. Now, what is reproduction? We can say an easy definition for reproduction. Reproduction is the method, or we can say it is the process of producing the young ones, right? Why we reproduce? Why the organisms reproduce? So that they can produce their young ones. Okay, we are, we are an outcome of reproduction. We human beings are an outcome of reproduction, right? So reproduction, basically we can say it is the process of producing the young ones with the help of male and female gametes, with the, or we can say more precisely, we can say with the fusion of male and female gametes, right? Now you underline the first line. Reproduction is the process in which organisms give rise to new individuals of their own kind. This is another simple definition. I also told you the definition. It was very similar to this only, but you can go with this definition when you write an exam. Reproduction is the process in which organisms give rise to new individuals of their own kind. Underline that, up to own kind. Now we know different organisms reproduce differently. Okay, every organism cannot reproduce sexually. There is another type of reproduction known as asexual reproduction also, right? Asexual reproduction is also occurring in animals. Sexual reproduction is also there. So every organism reproduce in different particular ways. Now, you have already studied that some single-celled organisms like amoeba reproduce simply by dividing into two. Some multicellular animals like hydra produce small buds, grow in size, get separated, and lead an independent life. These are the asexual methods of reproduction. So, asexual reproduction means, how can you define asexual reproduction? The kind of reproduction in which male and female gametes are not involved, or we can say which does not involve eggs or sperms. Are you getting my point? Everyone, can I get an answer? Yes, are you following? Yeah. Okay, when you don't answer, I think you're sleeping. So please answer, because I can't see your faces also. So please answer so that I may know that you're following me. So basically, what is asexual reproduction? The process of reproduction, the reproduction in which eggs and sperms are not involved, whereas sexual means involvement of eggs and sperms are there, right? So asexual reproduction, asexual method, there is no involvement of eggs or sperms. That means it could be done through other ways. Other ways means, like you can see in some animals, an additional growth forms. And some they cut into pieces, then they fuse and they form another animal. Some they regenerate. In some tissue culture is practiced, right? Tissues are taken from the body and then they are cultured in the laboratory, like that. So that processes, that methods are known as asexual types. Now, most of the animals, they reproduce sexually. All the animals, in animals, we are talking about human beings also. Okay, as I already told you, I don't know whether I've told you or not, human beings are social animals, right? So all the animals, most of the animals and human beings, they reproduce sexually. Human beings cannot reproduce asexually, or animals also. They cannot. Animals means the higher multicellular organisms, like big animals, like dog, cat, this one, tiger. All these animals, they cannot reproduce asexually. They have to reproduce sexually only, right? Which involves male and female gametes, fusion. Okay. But smaller organisms, like smaller animals, like we can say hydra, and smaller bacteria, amoebas, they all reproduce asexually, right? Now, in the process of reproduction, we need two sex, right? Male and female gametes are required, or we can say male and female cells, which contains the gametes. The gametes are sperms and eggs respectively. Okay, so just a minute, I'll just make a flow chart so that you can understand easily. I'll share my screen. Please let me know whether you can see or not. Yes, is my screen visible?
No, ma'am.
No? Just a minute.
No, ma'am.
I'll just wait for a minute. Is it visible now?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, my screen is visible, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
okay, I'll make you
Yes,
understand with the help of a flow chart so that you will easily understand. Now, this is very easy. Now, you can read this paragraph. This paragraph, it is very understandable, right? You have, you don't have to pressurize your mind to understand these paragraphs. These are very simple languages used. Not even hard English is used here. Very simple language. I'm just showing you with the help of a flow chart. So you can, if you are making notes, you can make these flow charts too in your copy or in your rough copy, whether could be anywhere, or just you can listen to what I'm saying. Okay, then in copy you can write your question answers. Yes. So reproduction, we know two types. You can, okay, this one, just a minute. I'm taking text. Okay. So reproduction, you can write like this when I am writing. If you want, you can write. It's not compulsory, but if you want, you can write this. Reproduction, two types. Like first, you can write reproduction, just mark the destination in your book. Then you can write in your textbook also, or in your rough copy also, you can write reproduction, two types. What are the types? Can anyone answer? We just discussed it right now.
Asexual and sexual.
Yes. First is asexual. And second is sexual reproduction. Asexual and sexual reproduction. These are the two types of reproduction. Now, talking about sexual reproduction, male and female gametes are required, right? Sexual reproduction involvement of, you can write involvement of male and female gametes. In brackets, you can write eggs and sperms. Okay, in bracket, eggs and sperms. Okay, or we can say sperms and eggs. Male for sperms and female for eggs. Right. Then, collectively, these are known as what? Gametes. As what is known as gametes? These eggs and sperms. Nothing else. Eggs and sperms, they are collectively known as gametes. Right. Now, what happens when they reproduce sexually? What happens when egg and sperm fuse together? They will form a particular thing. What is that thing known as? Zygote. You can underline in your textbook, the sperm and the egg fuse to form a zygote, which develops into an individual resembling its parents. Just underline that last line, the sperm and the egg fuse to form a zygote, which develops into an individual resembling its parents. Okay, so we can say sperm.
Ma'am,
Yes.
can you say again what we have to underline?
Yes, on page number 27, left hand side, last paragraph. Okay, however, most animals, can you see that paragraph, last paragraph? In that last line,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah, in that last line, the sperm and the egg fuse to form a zygote, which develops into an individual resembling its parents. So, sperm plus egg, it gives out what? A zygote. The sperm plus egg will give out a zygote. Zygote means that particular, the particular stage from where an individual's growth start. Okay, zygote is a single cell. If you have studied cell, you must be knowing that a body of a human being or any organism, be it any organism, the body of a particular organism starts life as a single cell. That single cell in case of human beings, that single case, or we can say the single cell, is zygote. Here, in case of human beings, zygote is that single cell from which our life starts, right? Now, okay, so this is a basic introduction about reproduction. Reproduction means the process of giving rise to new individuals of their own kind. Then it has two types, asexual and sexual. We have discussed sexual. Sexual means, in short, if we can say, if we describe sexual, we can describe it like sexual reproduction involves fusion of male and female gametes. I have already written involvement of male and female gametes, that is sperms and eggs. Now sperms and eggs, they are together, or we can say collectively known as gametes, and the sperm and egg, they fuse together to form a zygote, and zygote is a single cell. You can also write about zygote. Zygote is a single zygote is a single cell from where the life of an organism starts. Okay, zygote is a single cell from where the life of an organism starts. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
If you want, you can write this in your rough copy or in your notes copy also. Doesn't matter, but just write on the top notes, just in capital letters. You can write notes and you can write this chapter name, and you can write notes, then this. Then you can write your question answers on that same copy. It doesn't matter. Okay. Then we have asexual reproduction in animals. Now, sexual, we have not discussed it in detail. We have just known what is sexual reproduction, in which male and female gametes are involved, eggs and sperms are involved. Eggs and sperm fuse together to form a zygote. Now, what is a zygote? It is a single cell from where the life of an organism starts. Okay, I hope this much is clear. We will move to the next topic, asexual reproduction in animals. Now here you can just underline things. I'm not writing. Asexual reproduction in animals. So first method is fission. We can say binary fission or multiple fission. Binary fission or multiple fission. Now binary means what? Bi means two, right? Bi means two. That means the organism is divided into two cells. So here in fission, or we can say in binary fission, this is very common in single-celled organisms. Now, what are the single-celled organisms? Obviously, the smaller organisms which we talk about, amoeba, paramecium, bacteria also. Some bacteria also, they divide by fission, right? Now, talking about amoeba and paramecium, what happens in binary fission? The organism divide into two daughter cells, or we can say the two daughter amoeba. There will be one parent amoeba. Okay, it will divide into two daughter amoeba, right? Now, first what happens, just look at the diagram in your book. Page number 27. One amoeba is there. Okay, it contains a nucleus. Now, in the second step, what happens? This nucleus starts dividing. Obviously, the nucleus have to divide. Why? There is a practical logic behind this, because an organism cannot survive without nucleus. Okay, nucleus is the life, or we can say key to the life of the cell, right? Nucleus is the key to the life of that particular cell. So nucleus has to be divided, so that when the organism is dividing into two, nucleus gets also divided. Okay, nucleus is also divided into both of that organism when they are dividing into daughter cells. Otherwise, if the nucleus, if it is not dividing, then only one amoeba, or we can say only one cell, can get the nucleus. Other one will die eventually. Why? Because nucleus is not there. So first, division of nucleus is very necessary. Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So division of nucleus is very important. I have already told you the logic behind this, because without a nucleus, an organism cannot survive. So the nucleus must divide first. So here nucleus is dividing into two. In the second diagram you can see nucleus is just starting dividing. Then the third phase, what happens? This whole organism, it forms a bend in between, and the nucleus completely divides in that organism. Okay, one nucleus takes the one nucleus reaches one pole, and the second one reaches the other pole. There are two different poles, right? Top and south and north. So both the nucleus have achieved or attained two different poles. Now the last step is the whole organisms divide into two cells. That means I already told you one parent amoeba gets divided into two identical daughter cells. So here also, this parent cell, first nucleus gets divided, the nucleus gets completely divided, a bend starts forming, and then the last step of the whole organism divides into two daughter amoebae with a nucleus each. Okay, a nucleus is there in each of that organism. Is it clear?
Yes,
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this was binary fission in amoeba. So basically, if you are asked to give an example of binary fission, you can say amoeba, paramecium, anything. Okay, so we have discussed binary fission in amoeba. Now we have the second method of asexual reproduction, that is budding. Now budding, we can take an example of hydra. Okay, hydra is the main example for budding. Apart from hydra, yeast can also be taken as an example for budding. You can write it somewhere in your book in that topic, below that topic. You can write example. Hydra is already there. You can also write yeast. Okay, yeast, yeast. Now what happens in budding? But in this process, already the parent is there. Now this parent will, it will, an outgrowth will be present on the surface of that parent body. It will not be present, like it is generating. An outgrowth is generated on the body of that parent. Okay, just a minute. Okay, like suppose this is the body of the hydra. Okay, like suppose this is a hydra plant. Now an outgrowth will be generated here like this. Okay, or we can say this outgrowth is known as bud. That's why this process is known as budding. The small outgrowth is known as bud. So this outgrowth is generated from the body of that organism, and what happens later? This bud, this will not remain in this size only. This will grow. Okay, this will grow into a larger organism, and after growing, it will detach itself. Okay, when it feels that it is big enough to grow individually, it will detach from here. After detaching, the bud will be a different organism. Okay, a different individual. Now this is a different individual. When this bud is attached to this one, this is not individual. This is the part of this organism. Okay, when it grows after detachment, this is a individual organism. Now this is known as an individual hydra, right? So this is very common in reproduction in hydra. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Okay. Then third one we have regeneration. Okay. So fission is over, budding is over. Now we have regeneration. Now regeneration also you can see in hydra, or we can say planaria. Planaria is nothing but a flat worm. Okay, you have seen worms. So worms have also categories. So a flat worm is also known as a planaria. So these can regenerate, like one of the animal, or not an animal, like in houses it is usually found, lizards. Lizards can regenerate their tail, right? They also have a regenerating capability. So regeneration is nothing but the method in which the lost part is regenerated by the individual. Okay, the lost body part, like for example, I have already told you, lizards, when they shed their tail, that last part can be generated, that tail can be regenerated again by that lizard. Okay, they have that regenerating capability. Okay, so animals like hydra and starfish have a great power to regrow the missing or lost parts of their body. Okay, as I told you, hydra and starfish, underline these examples, hydra and starfish, they have great power to regrow missing or lost parts of their body. Starfish also, it can also regenerate. Now, regeneration can also take place for reproductive purposes. So basically, regeneration can also be a reproductive purpose. Why? Because it is regenerating the lost part. So it is actually reproducing, right? So that's why it is known as reproducing purpose. For example, if we cut hydra transversely into 2 to 3 pieces, each piece will regenerate and give rise to a new individual. Okay, okay. Just consider this again, hydra. Now, suppose this is cut into 2 to 3 transverse pieces. Okay. Sorry, this is not transverse. This is longitudinal. Transverse means, like suppose this is hydra, transverse section like this. Okay, horizontal. Horizontally, if the hydra is cut, each of this cutted portion, like this portion, this portion, this portion, this portion, they can grow into an individual organism. That means they can regenerate. And after regeneration, they will give rise to a new individual. This portion can give rise to a new individual. This can give rise to a new individual. Similarly, this whole hydra, if it is cutted transversely, all the parts can give rise to a new individual. Okay, same cases with the case of planaria, flatworm. If it is also cut into pieces, it will also give rise to a new worm. Each piece will give rise to a new worm. So this process is known as regeneration. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Any doubts?
No,
No,
ma'am.
ma'am. No,
Okay.
no, ma'am.
I hope you are getting my point. If you have any doubt, don't feel shy. You can ask me anytime. I'll repeat that portion. So, we have completed a sexual mode of reproduction. We have discussed three methods of asexual reproduction. What are they? Fission, that means binary fission or multiple fission. And multiple fission is what? We have not discussed multiple, right? Binary means the organism is divided into two. Now, multiple means more than two, nothing else. More than two, that means it can be four cells, haploid cells can be formed. So, in all the cells, nucleus will be there. So, that is known as multiple fission. So, binary fission over, multiple fission over, budding over, regeneration over. Now, in your book, one more method is not given. It is in higher classes, you may come across one more method of asexual reproduction, that is micropropagation. Okay, that's the last method of, and that is a little difficult. Okay, that's not easy like budding and regeneration. That's a little difficult because that is carried out in a laboratory. Okay, the tissues are taken out from the body of an organism and they are cultured in the laboratory. Okay, they are cultured in some compounds and then they are placed for some time and then they grow. That's a big process. Usually scientists do consider or prefer that processes. So that's a big process that you will come across that process in higher standards. So for now, you have to remember these three methods: binary fission, budding, and regeneration. Just a minute. Yes. Now we have sexual reproduction in animals. Okay, we have 10 more minutes. We will discuss sexual reproduction in animals. So I hope asexual reproduction is clear to all of you. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now let us move to sexual reproduction in animals on page number 28. Sexual reproduction in animals. So already we have discussed most animals reproduce sexually. In sexual reproduction is what? Where involvement of male and female gametes are there. What are the male and female gametes? The male gametes are the sperms and the female gametes are the eggs, or we can say ova. Okay. Now ova, eggs are present where? Where are these eggs present? There must be a space where these eggs should be present. Where? The ovary. Okay. So ovary is the female reproductive organ, or we can say the female reproductive tract is the ovary. And for the sperm, males have testes and testis contains sperms. So sperms, I already told you, sperms and egg cells fuse together to form zygote. Now, when these sperms and eggs fuse together to form the zygote, that process is known as fertilization. Now, you can underline that particular line on page number 28, sexual reproduction in animals. Last line. That left-hand side, last line, when the sperm fuses with the ovum, fertilization occurs. Now, it is clear from this line that when the fusion of sperm and eggs occurs, that method, that process is known as fertilization. Okay, now after fertilization, I told you what is formed. A zygote is formed. Okay, sperm and egg fuse together to form a zygote. Now, the zygote grows by cell division and produces an embryo. Now, the zygote, it will produce an embryo. That embryo will later on grow into an individual. So, this zygote, how it produces an embryo? Through cell division. Now, cell division is also a very big case, or we can say a large topic that you will come across in higher standards. Now, you have to know that zygote grows by cell division, nothing else. Now you don't have to discuss cell division because it is a very large topic. It will come in your higher standards. So for now, you have to know that zygote will grow by cell division. Now, what do you mean by cell division? Just simply in an easy way, I'll tell you. The cells. Now, each organism contains cell. Every organism, whether be it human being, be it animal, be it a plant. Every organism in this world, in this universe, contain a cell. So these cells, they will not remain one cell or two cell in that organism. Like according to the growth of the organism, the cell grows. When these cells grows and divide, these cells continuously grow and divide, and due to that division, our body grows, right? Like 5 years, like from 5 years from now, or I can say 10 years from now, I was a small kid. Okay, my height was small, my weight was less. So I was a very small personality. After 10 years, I have grown. How this growth occurs? Through cell division. The cells inside my body have divided, have grown fastly, and that's why my body has grown easily after 10 years. Right? Not only after 10 years, like every year our body grows. Okay, every time our body is growing. Whenever cells divide inside our body is growing. Growth is taking place. Right? So this cell inside the zygote grows by cell division and it produces an embryo. So the zygote, it is a small piece of organism. It is a smaller organism. So that means less cells are there. Now when these cells grow, when they divide, it will not take much time and it will soon form an embryo. Now this embryo finally grows to become a new individual. You can see a flow chart is there, okay? A horizontal flow chart is given, fertilization and development. Figure 3.4. Ovum is there, sperm is there, they are fusing, okay? Now sperm is fusing with the ovum. In the second one, you can see sperm is fusing with the ovum. Then they are forming a zygote. Now this zygote is dividing. You can see lines are formed in between. The first one, only one line is there. Second one, two lines are there. Okay, 4 cells you can see. Then 6. Then many cells. So cell division occurs continuously. You can see you can see that common arrow showing cell divisions and growth. So at last, the zygote has been divided. The cells inside the zygote has been divided into many cells. Okay, one single cell has been divided continuously, and at last it has formed an embryo. Right? Are you getting my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So through this continuous cell division, an embryo is formed. Right? So I hope you understood how an embryo is formed. The zygote contains cell. The cells inside the zygote will continuously divide and will produce an embryo. Later, this embryo will grow and form the new individual. Now, you know, human beings, the embryo takes how much time? Like 9 months. At least 9 months are required for an embryo to grow and become a proper grown individual. Right? Like you must have heard, our mother carries us in her womb for 9 months. So that 9 months is that precious time where grows, okay? First that will grow into a larger organism, little larger. Then after all the 9 months completed, like 9 months is the common number we use. 9 months is the requirement, but in some cases it could go lesser also. Okay, 8 months also, 7 months also. So in that case, the babies are known as premature babies, right? The babies which comes out in the 7th month or in the 8th month. But usually 9 is the count. So in 9 months, this embryo will grow and grow further, and after that 9th month, that embryo is completely, it has formed a baby. A baby is formed, and then the baby comes out, right? Now, human reproductive system. Just a minute, how much time we have? Only 4 minutes. So we will not start this human reproductive system today because only 4 minutes is left. We will not be able to complete this. So just a minute. We will discuss this one. Review question on page number 30. I'm just telling you the answers. Put a tick mark against the correct alternative in the following statements. The testes are located within the. Now we have not discussed this human reproductive system, so you may not know the answer. So the answer is scrotum. Second one, scrotum. Just tick it. Later on, when we complete this chapter, I'll just repeat these answers and we will get the logic behind this after reading the human reproductive system. Now you just tick the answer scrotum. Then D, amoeba most commonly reproduces by. This we have studied. Can anyone answer?
Binary fusion.
Yes, binary fission. Correct. Tick binary fission. Identify the stage which is formed after the fertilization of egg by the sperm. This also I have taught you.
Zoyot.
Zygote. Okay, it is pronounced as zygote. Okay. Fourth one, zygote. Then internally the uterus opens into. Okay, this you must not know. The answer is vagina. Second one, vagina. Internally the uterus opens into vagina. Okay. Do you have any doubt in the topics which we have covered? Sexual reproduction?
No, ma'am.
No doubt? Nothing? Yes?
No, ma'am.
Okay, no doubt. Okay, then Okay, just come on page number 28. Look at this diagram, figure 3.3, human sperm and egg. You can see sperm, all the parts of the sperms are mentioned. Labeling is given there. You can see a nucleus, a head is there, middle piece, then a tail. This is completely known as a sperm. Okay, so this head portion, it has a different name known as acrosome. You can also mention acrosome there if you want. ACROSOME, acrosome. Okay, the head of the sperm. You can see figure 3.3, the head portion. This triangular portion is also known as acrosome. Not the whole triangular portion. You can see a small triangle inside that. Okay, the upper portion, that portion is known as acrosome. Then you can see the egg. Egg contains cytoplasm and nucleus is also there. So this is just a diagram, or we can say a view of sperm and egg. Now, human reproductive system, female, male, both are there. We will discuss it in the next class. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, then everyone, we are stopping the class today. Okay, you may leave the class. Thank you, everyone. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Yes, bye.